HBC.
Live from the WHBC Broadcast Center. Find out more about area businesses, agencies, and events.
It's what's going on right now.
This is Spotlight.
And welcome to our Spotlight on this Wednesday morning. Pam Cook with you this morning. And we're also live on Facebook. If you want to check us out there, you can do so. And, of course, in studio with us, Dominic Fonte of Dominic Fonte and Associates, Cutler Realestate. I got that all out in one fell swoop. That was good. So we're always so happy to have you, and we know that we'll have a fun and informative show for the next hour. So, and we just had you on a little bit ago talking about, what's happening with the housing industry and how Canton is
rated number in the top 10. I think it's Canton-Massillon area.
Yeah.
The top 10 in the U.S., and that's something to be proud of if you live in the area. I know sometimes we get a little down because it's gray and cold, and we just want a little vitamin D type of thing.
Yep.
But I think for us, honestly, with all the things that are happening in, let's say, California with the tragic fires, I mean, a lot of times you don't even think about these things or these floods. But now the insurance companies, the financial burden, the mental anguish that people go through. I mean, I think for me personally, if I was living somewhere and worried about, falling asleep and then waking up in a foot of water or more, that'd be pretty scary. So I'm very grateful to live in the Summit and Stark County area, and in Ohio especially. It's very affordable, even though it's less affordable than it was, right? And there's other factors that affect the psyche of, I think, our human lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's always nice because you can live here. You can, everything's convenient. You have a lot of wonderful amenities. And I guess if you watch with Akron-Canton Airport being so close and watch those specials, Google those low flights, you could fly directly to Florida or other, L.A. if you need a little break and need a little vitamin D. So I'm very grateful. So thank God for Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's always when you are in it, you're not realizing it, many times.
No. I mean, how many people have you talked to that live here their whole life and never been to the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's just human nature, honestly. But when it comes to real estate, which is the American dream, I always like to say for all the people listening, it's the best way to build wealth in a conservative, non-threatening time. It compounds over time. And so, the goal, I think, is what I'd like the listeners to take from today is, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And I think, we get caught up in hearing the sound bites of the day,
Yeah.
If it bleeds, it leads. And like I say, I try to, put the headlights in the dark, maybe be the GPS of the experience. I always like to say, as you're going through your life changes, because believe me, we all have them, don't we?
We do.
And that sometimes will affect decisions and force us to do different things. I just say that it's very emotional, very expensive. You had a life-changing event. You want to make sure that you're getting some good guidance from your professional so that it relaxes the experience, helps hold your hand through the process, and so that you can have a good experience and also protect yourself and your wealth over time.
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time, but it's always been a very scary thing for a lot of people. They think, I'd love to buy a house, but I don't know if I can do that.
Right. Well, I mean, think about even if you're renting, all of us been through that course. Some people rent for many years. The rents have gone up a lot over the years. I expect they're going to come back down because they've overbuilt in the rental market. But as long as the interest rates are high with house buying, it forces people to be stuck in renting, right?
Yeah.
Well, 3-4 years go by pretty quick when you're renting. And if you want a stomach gut check, just look at the rent times 12 times 4, and you might have $50,000 in rent that you paid. And then you try to make yourself feel a little better by saying, well, if anything breaks, the landlord will take care of it. But then when you really look at the reality of it, how many times did the roof break or the furnace break or, the water heater blow up? So the point is that there's a transition for everything we do. But I think when I look at over my 37 years of doing this, and I've worked with all different people, all different situations, I find that if you can dip your toe into it eventually, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but sometime, and you can maintain it with a little bit of common sense and some guidance with your advisor, real estate advisor, it can be very satisfying. Pride of ownership, the American dream, gradually paying it down, appreciating, maybe 3 to 4% a year, and you have a wonderful place to provide for your loved ones. You can customize it. And like I said, eventually it's paid for, and you have an asset to live the fourth quarter of your life on if you need be, maybe rent, or if you need to go to assisted care. I mean, there's a lot of that happening right now with the boomers that are in their late 60s, 70s, and so on. So I'm seeing a lot of movement in that department. And also Florida and California, people are wanting to come back closer to family. I think when you go through these traumas, you could tell it's a problem when you have 100 gallons of water or 3 cases of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Because it scares you, you don't want to be stranded. So that's why I think Ohio is so attractive right now, because of those items, the convenience, affordability.
Stress is less.
Yes, very much so. And you can always go on a trip if you want to have a little
That's right.
change the pace.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Pam, if you and Billy behind the scenes here, Billy, you should say hi so people know what you really look like. He's a handsome fella. So anyhow, Billy's running the show back here. And sometimes when I come on, I always want it to be more informative, not really salesy. So if there's anybody out there, if there's an opportunity for them to send a question in, or if they just have something. I know sometimes you think about it, but you don't want to do it. It's kind of embarrassing. But you don't have to say your name if you don't want. But I'd be more than happy to try to answer anything live.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's anything out there that you folks have a question, send a message in if you want to give them the info. And in the meantime, let's kick this off and get some good information out there for the listeners.
Yeah, 330-450-1480. That's our number to call if you want to pose a question. Love for you to do that. There's just always so many great things that we get to throughout the hour when we have our spotlight with Dom. What's the market looking like right now? We always talk about the status of interest rates and things.
Well, from an interest rate standpoint, it's like hovering around 7. So that's high compared to what a lot of the people remember. But if you wind it back 30 years, obviously 7% was not a bad rate.
Yeah.
But I'd say 5.9 would be the sweet spot. If you can get anything in the low 6s or high 5s, I think the market would light up. But keep in mind, we're still short on inventory in Stark County. Now, the headlines I've been hearing a lot about, the inventory is increasing. There's a few people that have some foreclosures now, more so than before, which is sad for them.
Yeah.
But there is still hope if they have the right guidance. So some things are changing. Days on market are up a little bit longer. And so when they say a percentage like 19 or 20 or 29%, that seems like a lot, but it only might be 3 or 4 days. Oh. So what I always say is when you hear these headlines, it's kind of important to look at what's happening where you are, what jurisdiction you're located in, because it only matters really in your backyard if you're thinking of buying, selling, investing, building, or whatever it is you might want to do, even rent. It's always a supply-demand-based concept. So nationally right now, I've been seeing between 4.2 and 5.2 months of inventory. And depending on what report you go, because, it can be skewed according to, like, Redfin has 5.2, KCM, which is Keeping Current Matters, and they have their sources, is 4.2. So what does that mean to the listeners? Well, here's what it means. So nationally, they're saying that the inventories are going up, the days on market are going up. So the days are still in the 40s, let's say, But not too long ago, in 2010, it was 180 days to 300 days was the average. So now, if it's more than 20 or 30 days on market, if the location, condition, and price are online, people will say, well, what's wrong with it? It hasn't sold, if it's on the market like 40 days.
Yeah.
But so I think education-wise, I always mention this because it's important to know, if there's 5 to 7 months worth of inventory, so that means how many months of inventory are on the market in your area, and then how many buyers are in the market to absorb that, right?
Yeah.
So if they say 4 to 5 months, for example, that means it takes 4 to 5 months to burn off that inventory. And then when you look in our backyard, so let's say Stark County last month was 2.2 months. So if it's nationally 4 to 5 months, and you listen to that, it could scare you saying, well, you know what, maybe I'll pause now and see if prices are going to drop. which probably isn't the case in Ohio for sure because of supply and demand, but maybe in Florida or California because of the traumatic things, or the Carolinas, there could be some changes coming, mainly because of environmental. But I'd say when you look at those national stats that foreclosures are up, they're really not more than 4%, which is really pretty conservative. And remember, we talked about the lending practices are conservative, and the demand is still going to be high. So I think if they, I think the rates will come down some, probably in the 6s by the end of the year. But there's a lot of chaos and a lot of things going on right now with the new administration, and a lot of quick changes going on. So I think when people get a little nervous about stuff, they pause. They're not sure. They're trying to figure it out. So the local listeners today will know that there's 2.2 months of inventory. The balance of market would be 5 to 7 months, so we're still favoring the sellers. So if you're a buyer in the buyer's market looking to buy a house, it's going to be a little challenging, so you want to work with a local expert that really understands it, so that you can be that informed decision maker, right? And there's ways to do that by looking at the stats in your neighborhood at the time of year. Now, one of the things I just read was between now, and the end of February or even the 1st of March, it may be a better time to buy because the houses are, taking a little longer to sell, and maybe the sellers will negotiate a little on price, which is a problem when there's not enough supply, right?
Right.
And the reason why is because if someone's a little bit more motivated and they need to sell it during the winter months, sometimes you can capitalize on that as a prospective buyer.
Yeah.
But once it gets into April, May, and June, there's a lot more people vying for that limited inventory, which then drives the price way up again. Yeah. So if they drop the price, the interest rate's too low, it'll create a frenzy, and then inflation will come back into play again. So it's a kind of a delicate balance, honestly.
That's why you need a helper like you.
Cheers for a helper.
Absolutely. All right. Dominic Fonte and Associates, Cutler Real Estate, is our guest this morning on Spotlight. And again, if you'd like to ask a question, please give us a call, 330-450-1480.
Let's take a look at what's happening right now on the WHPC YouTube channel. The story started in Stark County, but went nationwide to find Maple the dog. Find out how a lost furry friend found its way home. Football never truly stops. WHPC brings you the latest on high school football, the Hall of Fame, and the NFL. All this for free when you subscribe to 1480 WHPC on YouTube.
This is Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte and Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I have over 36 years experience. I helped over 2,500 families. I can help you too. Trusted, respected, recommended. Check out my more than 450 5-star reviews at DominicFonte.com. Wow, real estate headlines, interest rates, inflation, it's all very confusing. I'm Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte and Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I'll be your guide because knowledge is power. Find out more at DominicFonte.com.
Hello, it's Craig Sanders from Progressive Chevrolet in Massillon. Listen to this Progressive Power Buy.
This month, we have 3 incredible Equinox Power Buys for you to choose from. First up is the all-new 2025 Chevy Equinox RS all-wheel drive. Take $7,000 off MSRP with a 2015 or newer trade-in. Next is the new 2025 Equinox LT, leased for only $229 a month. The third Progressive Equinox Power Buy is a new 2025 Chevy Equinox EV RS, leased for just $219 a month. No matter which Equinox you choose, Progressive Chevrolet will save you a lot. Equinox all-wheel drive, $7,000 off. Lease an Equinox LT, $229 a month. Equinox EV, lease for $219 a month. Together, let's drive.
Shop Progressive Chevrolet in Massillon.
Call 833-853-3094 for offer details. Stock number C25, 196, 277, and 124. MSRP 35,430, 30,090, and 46,295. Offers end 3/3/25 or upon sale of eligible vehicles.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale is happening now. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-822-1598. 800-822-1598. 800-822-1598.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Spotlight on 1480 WHBC and our Facebook page. We are live. Just go to our Facebook page and like us if you want to watch along live in studio. Dominic Fonte and Associates, Cutler Realestate. Dominic Fonte in studio with us this morning. We've been talking about a lot of different things already. But, you know, when you think about, people getting ready for retirement or already in retirement, maybe they're making changes in their life. That's a whole new thing that, people have to deal with and, gets a little scary there too, right?
It's not only scary, it's very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about that, what you just mentioned, say like, someone in their 70s and they've been in their home 35, 40 years.
Yeah.
And maybe they have kids, grandkids, transitional children, getting divorced, getting married. And in the basement, what do you have but lots of odds and ends, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always your odds and ends. And the crazy thing about it is when you have the thought, because, like we might mentally feel like, okay, we're going to do all these things, and then our bodies just don't perform at that level, and we get overwhelmed. We throw our hands up and say, the heck with it. They're going to carry me out in a pine box.
Yes.
I don't know how many times I've heard that.
Yeah.
But this is the key to it, is having a guide. This is really critical. You want to have a guide that can kind of do a needs analysis based on what your thoughts are. Because a lot of times, you think of a funnel. You're at the top of the funnel. It's hugely opened. But by the time you figure out what you're really doing, you might come out that little small end. So there's a process. And the process can be a little longer depending on how you feel, how your health is, how your finances are. Do you have anybody to help you? And sometimes old school people say, you know what, I'm not going to call my kids and bug them and put it on them. I'm going to figure it out. So you definitely need the help of a professional that can give you guidance and break it into small steps, baby steps. Because if you don't, you will throw your hands up. Because remember what I said before, it's the most expensive thing you're going to do most of the time. It's very emotional because you have memories and you have, pictures on the wall and things to get rid of and things to pare down. So Are you going to buy? You're going to invest? You're going to rent? We're going to build? What are we going to do? And so you're trying to figure out this, and then when you start looking at pricing, then you just shut down. And then next thing you know, something happens. One of your spouse maybe has a stroke, and you didn't go to that one-floor plan, so you have a hospital bed in the living room. And since you're used to making a lot of the decisions, they all now fall on your partner. And it's overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So when you have full control of everything at this moment, and I find that really the sweet spot is around 75. It can happen sooner depending on if you want to buy a place in another climate. But a lot of the times I find that, the silent generation or the boomers, as they're getting ready to transition, they may have equity in their home. They may have been there 30 or 40 years, but they're not sure because they don't want to penalize their retirement account, and they don't really have the money unless they sell. So they think in their mind, I must sell my home first, right?
Right.
And then once it closes, you have the excess money to buy your other home, right? Your new home. Well, we talk a lot about supply, demand, and less inventory. And so let's say I'll give you a perfect example. I'm dealing with this right now with a couple. They have a larger 2-story home, and they were a vet, so they could probably get those little ramps to go up and down the steps, like that little chair lift. But they're trying to be realistic about it, and they know it's time. It's just too much maintenance in the house, too much maintenance in the yard. Is a condo right, or a villa where you just pay for maintenance, or just buying a little ranch, or what do we do, or just go to an apartment? And when you look in the basement or you look around at all the 30 years worth of stuff, not to mention I forgot to look in the attic, which is pretty overwhelming. And so I think really, there's so many moving parts. So the mechanism really is that a lot of people have equity in their homes, or their homes might even be paid off, especially at the category where you're getting into your 70s and you're thinking about getting a 1-floor plan. So if you had a magic wand, and you won't be able to do this without guidance more than likely, is you would want to take your time, do a needs analysis, decide what budget, what area, and then you secure a home before you sell. Now that's pretty scary because if you remember 08 through 13, a lot of people got into financial trouble because of 2 houses or too many houses on it.
Yeah.
Right. I would advise a consultation with me, and I can give you some options. But there is ways to safely tap your equity, secure the home of your dreams, modify it, fix it, whatever, transition your things to the house, declutter, have the kids all come and pick up their stuff, or it goes into the dumpster, right? And then what happens is then you sell your house. Now, the risk factor is low because there's low inventory, the lending practices are very conservative, and there's low foreclosures. So therefore, the risk factor are very conservative if you were to do it. The only thing is you just need a professional advisor like me, or someone that you have, know, like, and trust that understands this. And then what is the safest, more conservative way to do it so that I don't feel high anxiety?
Yeah.
Because like I said, money's important to do it most efficiently and cost effective. But if I'm all stressed out, I might want to spend $2,000 or $3,000 more to know I'm not all stressed out. So I think you need to know on the needs analysis, what is your safety, what is your comfort, and if you had a magic wand, how would you like it to play out? And don't worry too much about the details. Let me help you understand it in bite-sized pieces and like a 3-step process so that you can baby step into it and then mentally adjust to it. Because, it takes time. You can't do it instantly. So you want to have that consultation way ahead of time. My number is 330-418-1535, or you can email me at dominic@dominicfonte.com. I have a great, tight organization. My son, Dominic Michael, and Zev Braun work on my team, and they were trained by me, and they know how to do this with a caring heart, the heart of that teacher, to give you the best advice. Now, in some cases, maybe not selling is the best advice. Maybe you stay in place and you modify things. Maybe you tear out that tub and you put a shower with some grab bars, or maybe you bring that laundry up into the front closet. So depending on the style of house, we want you to do what's going to be best for you. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, I don't really care. I just want you to refer me if I treated you right and you feel that, honestly, I think a lot of times what I see happen is people are like skeptical. I think it's just human nature to be skeptical, right? Because you have a salesperson. Of course, he wants to sell something so he can make a big fat commission. But this is, maybe some people may be that way. That's not how I operate. And for 37 years, I helped over 2,600 families. And believe me, these people, it's not all because of their own volition that they want to do it. A lot of times there's traumatic things that happen in people's lives that force them to do it. And then when you add that amplified emotion along with this complicated decision, you need to have someone that really understands it. And I believe if there's anybody out there that has any of these feelings, don't hesitate to call. It's no pressure, no obligation. We'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
Once we have that conversation, you will have peace in your heart, I promise you. I've done this a lot, and I know how to do it. You always put the customer's needs first, no matter how bad you need it, and it always comes out in the long run because word of mouth is everything, and you don't want to get a bad rap for that. You need to do the right thing for the client and the customer. Always, always, always.
And people have spoken about and actually written about how you do the right thing all the time. 500 5-star reviews.
Yeah, so if you just are curious, because this is our human nature, honestly, I'm the same way. I hate salespeople.
Me too.
And and I'm very skeptical of it. But here's the thing. It's just hard to find the really good ones. So if you have a good one, keep them or her. But if you just want to have a chat, my number is 330-418-1535. What Pam was just saying is I have over 500 5-star reviews. And they're not just 5-star necessarily. They might say something. So if you read some of those, then that will give you peace of what your worries might be. Because sometimes, you worry about getting ripped off or someone not representing you correctly or maybe overpaying or underpaying or not getting enough. There's so many things that scare people because most of the time, people only do this a couple times in their life.
Right.
So it's not like an everyday occurrence like buying a belt, right? But if you want to read some of those reviews, go to DominicFonte.com. That's DOMINIC. That's my name, Dominic. Last name, Fonte, F as in Frank, ONTE.com. And then start reading some reviews just so you understand. I mean, obviously, it's very stressful, and communication's key, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I always like to preset people to let them know what to expect before they have to expect it. And it makes them feel a little more at peace, I guess, is what I found.
Everybody needs a helping hand and guidance, that's for sure. All right, we're going to take our break for the news right now, and we'll be back with Spotlight right here on 1480 WHBC.
For a new water softener system, call the experts at Verndale Water. We offer affordable prices to fit any budget, and no interest financing is available. Let our family give your family clean, clear, great-tasting water. From Verndale Water Experts.
Ferndale's Water.
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, in Northeast Ohio, a child's Valentine's Day card contained a dangerous surprise that wasn't so loving. An investigation in Akron after a razor blade hidden inside the card cut a 5-year-old girl. The girl's mother told police the child received the card at a party at local learning center and cut her fingers. The card was bought by another family and sealed, but the other child did not know about the blade hidden inside. Dangerously cold weather sweeping through the U.S. again as a polar vortex drops temperatures. But even with the majority of the country experiencing a deep freeze, it's hitting Kentucky especially hard because of recent severe weather there. The death toll from last weekend's storms in Kentucky has now risen to 14, which now includes a homeless man and woman who died from hypothermia. Governor Andy Beshear said at a press conference yesterday, it's a snowstorm in the middle of a natural disaster. NASA has increased the estimated chance of asteroid 2024 YR4 hitting Earth on December 22nd, 2032. They've upped it to 3.1%, or about 1 in 32. The asteroid discovered in December of 2024 is between 130 and 300 feet wide. If it impacts Earth, it could release energy that would be 500 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's a look at your AccuWeather forecast. It's going to remain very cold for the next few days, in fact, through the rest of the work week. We have cloudy skies today, a high of 21, snow and flurries overnight down to 14, continuing as snow showers tomorrow with a high of 20, about a coating to an inch expected. You can always check the latest weather news and forecast when and how you want, wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. I'm Jeff Nordine for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
This is Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte & Associates with Cutler Realestate. I have over 36 years experience. I helped over 2,500 families. I can help you too. Trusted, respected, recommended. Check out my more than 450 5-star reviews at DominicFonte.com. Wow, real estate headlines, interest rates, inflation, it's all very confusing. I'm Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte & Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I'll be your guide because knowledge is power. Find out more, DominicFonte.com.
See this year's top awarded shows on Canton's largest screen at the Canton Palace Theater. This Thursday through Sunday features the movie A Complete Unknown, the story of Bob Dylan and his controversial shift from folk to rock. Get your tickets at CantonPalaceTheater.org.
Did you know that Altman performs the most robot-assisted surgical procedures in our region? This offers you shorter hospital stays, less scarring, and reduced pain. A surgeon's hands, made even better. Here for you at Altman.
Hi, welcome to Discount Drug Mart. Why the sad look?
I didn't get my Drug Mart circular this week, and I know I'm missing out on all kinds of great deals.
Turn that frown upside down and follow me, my friend. You can always find the newest circular at your neighborhood Drug Mart or online at discount-drugmart.com.
That's awesome. Hey, I knew it. We need this and this and this and this.
Drug Mart saves you the runaround. You'll find everything you need.
The savings at your locally owned and operated Save-A-Lot just keep coming. Remember to download their app and start saving today. Fresh cut bone-in chops are only $1.49 a pound. Dished mashed potatoes, $2.49, and Markham brown gravy, an amazing 69 cents. Fairhill Farms vegetables are only 98 cents, and Cafe Valley cakes, $3.99. Remember, the meat at your local Save-A-Lot is fresh cut daily, in-store by hand. When they say it's fresh, it's fresh. Download the app at savealot.com today.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
This is Spotlight on your Wednesday morning. Pam Cook with you. Dominic Fonte with you this morning as well. And we're live on Facebook. You can check it out there. We were talking about reviews, and it is interesting, Dom, because, we're talking about your 5-star reviews. People find them even when they're out of state, things like that. But people read reviews on everything these days. I'm buying a blouse on Amazon. I'm reading the review about it.
This is huge. And I'll tell you, this is what's so unique. I would say probably 80% of the work I do for people is not new. It's just word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And when I ask them, I say, may I ask how you got my name? And they'll say, well, someone may have referred me in some cases. And then they go online right away. And they start seeing if if there's anything good or bad or ugly about you, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's human nature, especially with technology these days. So they start reading reviews, and they have stories to the reviews, and they're like, okay, maybe at the very least we're going to have a chat with the person. But to be transparent, I might get 2 or 3 other opinions, which is normal. And what I find happens a lot with the reviews, which, I never understood this before, but it does make sense because I was just making a chicken recipe last night, and I was Googling chicken recipes, and before I picked the one I want, I look at the reviews. And so I found one with like 200 5-star reviews, and I looked it up, and that's what I made last night. My wife said, this was dynamite.
See there?
And she just didn't want to deal with it. And I said, I'll do it. And we had chicken thighs, which they're dark meat. I didn't really care for it. I like more lighter.
Me too. I know.
But the flavor was killer. So it was really good. But here's what happens like in real estate, because it's a big deal. Like we talk about all the time. It's expensive. It's emotional. And then you have a life-changing event. So I get a call like this. Hey, Dom, I found you online. I read some of your Google reviews, and I'm coming in from out of state. My mom, unfortunately, fell, broke her hip, and she's in rehab, but then she's got to go to like a nursing home or assisted care. Mm-hmm. And we need every penny we can get. And it seems like you have some nice reviews. I would like to interview you if you're available, and I'll be in Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, whatever. And to be transparent, we're going to interview 2 or 3 others. And I said, fair enough, I understand. And so then I meet with the person and we talk about it and I find out what their situation is. And they might only have, because they're out of state, so they're nervous about trusting all this to happen while they're back out of state. So the house may need cleaned out. It may need some work done to it. And so they're looking to me to help walk them through that process, which is what I do. And in some cases, we can sell it as is, depending on the price, location, and condition, and the time of year and things like that. So I give them the informed information they're looking for, and then they can make that decision. Now, of course, sometimes they look at commission. They say, like, well, what's your fee? So they'll ask me my fee. Or, and they might sometimes think the fee is how they make their decision if they perceive all agents as being pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't be further from the truth, okay?
Yeah.
Read my reviews and you'll see what I mean. I always say my goal is that when you look at that fee, and it is a lot, right, besides the mortgage or taxes and things like that, but the way you want to look at it, if you have a really good agent, the good agent's going to net you more money in the long run. So when you're looking at the service fee, don't get caught up in that. Look at the net number, because that's what's going to carry you through if you have to pay an extra 2 months of nursing home care or, maybe rehab care. And in some cases, if mom or dad or somebody passed away, you have an estate to deal with, and sometimes you have other siblings involved, and they may be local. And so there's always emotional trauma, I think, when you look at this. And so the job of the agent and myself is to kind of help manage the emotional appeal of this. And it's always, unfortunately, it's not always easy, right? Because it's traumatic, it's upsetting, emotional, you have memories. And then I have to help, expedite this in a professional, calming way. You can imagine how that could be very tricky.
Yes.
You add siblings and wives and husbands and kids that are in trouble, need money, don't need money, some that remember their childhood memories. So it makes it tricky in this business, I think, to manage that experience with all different kinds of personalities.
Yeah.
And I think I have a pretty good track record. And again, if you have any sense that maybe one day you might have to do this, go to DominicFonte.com. Check out the reviews, and then just put a little check mark by save me if you ever need me down the road.
Yeah.
And I promise you won't regret your decision.
Yeah, and I would say more than likely 2,600 families that you've helped, you've probably seen just about everything.
Every once in a while I get a little surprised, but it's true. And in the long run, when I look back over the whole experience of my 37 years of this, it made me a better person.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
That's right.
And sometimes you learn it the hard way. And I think to be more empathetic and understanding and compassionate with what everybody's struggles are. A lot of times it's an individual thing. If you've been bullied and picked on and had a rough spell, you're going to process it differently than someone that had a golden spoon and lived in a bubble their whole life.
Yeah.
But I work with all different personality types. And I think the bottom line is separating emotions from logic. And that's my job to do, to help leverage your position, whatever that may be.
What do you think is the biggest challenge or worry that these folks have when they come to you?
Fear of making a mistake or getting ripped off. I think human nature is that, like, remember I said perception is reality a lot of times?
Yeah.
The market's really good. So sometimes I'll get this, you're emotional about your house. You need as much as you can get, even more than you can get. That's just human nature, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you might say, well, Dom, I totally gutted and remodeled everything in 1990. So I have a new kitchen, I have a new roof, I have a new furnace, new windows in 1990.
In 1990, yeah.
So in your mind, because those years go by fast, don't they?
They do.
But if it's 20, 25, 30 years old, it's about due to be redone again, right? And so I think it's just hard because, you've seen the neighbor's house sell for this amount of money, and you're like, wait a minute, my house is way nicer than that. Now, I know it was 2 years ago, but I should be able to get way more than that. And it doesn't always work that way, so you want to get as much as the market will bear. So the expert's idea and job is really to provide market data to you as a seller, for example, or a buyer, so that you understand. Because you might have your perceptions here in the headlines, but you don't really know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the agents don't even know. So that's why it's important that we're not all created equal. We're not all vanilla. you have to understand what the difference really is. And the difference is where the people's fear come in, because they don't know. They just say, well, he's an agent, he's the expert, you know, and I think I know what it's worth because I know the neighbor's house sold for this, so mine should get a lot more. And then the agent's trying to tell me what he says it should sell for. Well, without a crystal ball, I don't know about you, but how do you know exactly the date, time, and price and who the buyer's going to be, right?
Yeah.
So I think the important thing is fear of making a mistake, fear of picking the wrong agent. And then, you know, the unknown of, well, if you're moving somewhere, like let's say you're selling a home, well, are you going to be happy with the neighborhood? Are you going to be happy with the neighbors? Are you going to be happy with no big surprises? You know, and is the agent going to tell you have to pay more so that they can make more commission? That's the perception. But in reality, you know, as long as you're educated and informed decision maker, you'll be happy. Yeah. And so that's the importance of the guide, is to be the headlights in the dark for you, to hold your hand through the process, to walk you through this whole thing. And that means with inspections, helping you with inspections, maybe the right financing, or is there an equity line, or is there some cash program, you know, and then what if you need some touch-ups or some painting, or maybe a dumpster, or maybe a mover, all these little decisions that have to be made. You want to have a trusted advisor you can come to and you say, you know what, I am so grateful to have you in my life, because I don't know all the people. You have the connections. I don't.
Right.
And so that's really where I think it's not just a simple thing as selling it and worrying about the commission. It's the whole package.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to it.
And that's what you're there for.
Absolutely.
All right. We will come back for our final segment. Dominic Fonte and Associates, Cutler Real Estate, on Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Mix 94.1 and 1480 WHBC are bringing it back.
OMG! Are you kidding me? This is gonna be awesome.
Canton Kid Fest 2025.
Canton Kid Fest is a huge indoor event for and about kids. Save the date.
Saturday, March 22nd at the Canton Civic Center.
And it's only $5 to get in.
Inspired once again by our friends at Wishes Can Happen.
Canton Kid Fest at the Canton Civic Center. Don't miss it.
Save that day, Saturday, March 22nd at the Canton Civic Center.
From News Talk 1480 WHBC.
See it there. I can't wait.
And Mix 94.1.
This is Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte & Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I have over 36 years experience. I helped over 2,500 families. I can help you too. Trusted, respected, recommended. Check out my more than 450 five-star reviews at DominicFonte.com. Wow, real estate headlines, interest rates, inflation, it's all very confusing. I'm Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte & Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I'll be your guide because knowledge is power. Find out more, DominicFonte.com.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale is happening now. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Tune in each Saturday morning at 8 a.m. for the Money Matters radio show. Find out how today's economy, debt levels, and policies affect your hard-earned money. You've made your money. Now it's time to watch it grow. Tune in to the hour-long Money Matters radio show every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC. To speak to Bob Vowdy or Dave Ryan about your money matters, call New Horizon Financial Group in Canton at 330-499-1915. 330-499-1915.
On Thursday, February 27th, you have the opportunity to change a life or perhaps save a life. The Stop Hearing from Killing Committee will be holding its 10th annual Opiate Symposium on Thursday, February 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. It's free to the public. The Canton Pro Football Hall of Fame has generously agreed to host it. Last year, opiate deaths increased in Stark County by 9%. This is the 6th year in a row that the numbers have jumped. Fentanyl continues to terrorize our community and destroy lives. Let's stop this tragic and heartbreaking epidemic. Join us on February 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Canton Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bring a friend, family member, or anyone you feel could benefit from this event. It could be a lifeline. If we save one life that night, it will be worth it. Paid for by the Stop Heroin from Killing Committee, Frank Frashoni, Chairman.
This is Mike Frazier, Senior Pastor at Canton Baptist Temple. I would like to personally invite you to worship with us at 10:15 this Sunday morning in our worship center located at 515 Whipple Avenue in Canton, Ohio. If you cannot be with us in person, please tune in to our broadcast right here on WHBC at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. For more information about our ministries, you can visit us at cantonbaptist.org. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Looking to get doctor-prescribed medication like Ozempic or Wegovy? Zelty can help you get GLP-1 medications affordably, whether you have insurance and even if you don't. And 100% online. It's simple. Just text ACCEPT to 200-300 to get started. Zelty can help you get Ozempic, Wegovy, or Zepbound covered by your insurance company. So you pay as little as $0 for the medication if prescribed. No insurance? No problem. Zelty can ship semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and Zepbound, for as little as $151 a month versus $1,000 plus for name brand medications. Either way, it's high quality medical care, weight loss coaching, and access to game-changing medications. All 100% online with Zelty and affordable with or without insurance. So don't wait. Text ACCEPT to 200-300 to get started today on your weight loss journey with Zelty. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text ACCEPT to 200-300. That's ACCEPT to 200-300. Text ACCEPT to 200-300.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business. Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it and will beat any print quote. Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs. No problem. I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens. Totally. I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing. I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale is happening now. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin. Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare.
Wow. With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe
Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off on Hot Buy store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Hot Buy store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
All right, our final segment this morning with Dominic Fonte and Associates, Cutler Real Estate, and we've been running the gamut here, Dom, talking about so many different things. But, you know, it's important because every age group handles things differently, and they all have, obviously, different goals and different needs, right?
Oh, you bet. And the crazy thing about this is, like right now, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you got Gen Z, Gen X, millennials, boomers, and the silent generation. Well, if you just go Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, and boomers, that's 275 million people. And those are all the people that are in different stages of the market. And I don't know if you remember, but around before COVID and before those rates went up and around COVID in 21, 22, the millennials were the biggest buying market. They were like 50% of the buying market there for a while. And then when the rates went up to 7% or more, it pretty much forced everybody out of the market.
Yeah.
And then you go to the boomers, which, you know, a lot of them have a decent amount of equity. And it's just like they are now in a little better financial position. And I assume that eventually there's going to be more inventory because they're going to be downsizing, right-sizing, or moving to a different climate, I guess. And then the younger people, it's always the down payment and, trying to have security. We were just talking off air with Billy. He has a bunch of friends now that are moving from the bigger cities to where it's more affordable, like Stark County or the surrounding areas, because, you can always go to the big life or the city life, for a trip or vacation or a long weekend. But when you look at, providing for your family or future family or loved ones, you just want to make sure you live within your means.
Yeah.
And since the rates and everything are more expensive, it's harder to do. But I can promise you the American dream is alive and well. You just need a guide, because there's over, like almost 3,000 help programs out there for communities, affordability programs, grant programs that can help you get in the game. I just think a lot of times, like when I grew up, my dad always said, well, you got to put 20% down when you buy a house.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm not going to be buying a house then, because who has 20% to put down? Yeah. So there's all different, a myriad of ways to do it, to get to the same situation. But again, it always comes back to guidance. You just need the right guidance. And then once you get all those options on the table, you see what fits into your lifestyle, and it protects you, makes you feel good. And then you look at that direction. And that's really what it's about. Education, being an informed decision maker. So at the end of the day, you're a happy decision maker.
Yeah, don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, you just need good guidance. If you get a bummer, I get it. If you had a bad experience, I get that. I preach all the time about this. It's not about sales. It's about education. And if you do the right thing and you have a great experience, then you're going to share the blessings of, what good experience you had, and that's really a win-win for all of us, right?
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of young people in my family have recently purchased homes, and I would talk to them about what do you like about it, and tell me about it, and when I would say, well, what's the neighborhood like? Oh, I don't really know. We like the house was redone, and like the neighborhood was not. And for me, I say, I want to make sure I've got good neighbors and
right. Well, they would say for 100 years, location.
Yeah, right.
For that reason. But again, it's based on your experience. And
that's true.
Sometimes older people have more history of understanding these things. The younger people, you watch HGTV, you get these great ideas, and you fall in love with the house, and then it's like, when you wake up and realize, oh, geez, maybe that's not really the school district where I really wanted to be. And then everybody says, well, if I could only pick it up and move it. So it always comes back to, you get the nicest location that you can afford that suits your family needs or your loved ones. And then you just, negotiate the best arrangement with the advisor.
Yeah.
But I would say if you have any thoughts of anything, please, we have a few tools here we want to talk about. Pam, what are they? Dom, what's my house worth?
Oh, yes, Dom. I'm looking at it right now. Dom, what's my house worth.com. What's my house worth.com.
So if you're curious about just a sense of what's happening in your neighborhood, go to Dom, D-O-M, what's my house worth.com. Plug in your address. It'll send you a neat report of things around your house based on zip code. I also have this program that people love, and I set a lot of people up with it. But basically, if you're looking to downsize or right size and go to a specific area and you're just trying to understand the market because maybe in a year or two you're going to retire and you just want to know what's going on, I can pick a neighborhood area and email you anything that comes on the market, anything that goes under contract, anything that sells, so that you're an informed decision maker on an area your future maybe want to move to.
Yeah.
But also, I think people are very interested in always being on top of what their home markets are and the values.
Mm-hmm.
And they fluctuate some. So, I can set you up on that as well.
What's your phone number, sir?
330-418-1535. You can call or text. You can email me at dominic@dominicfonte.com. If you want a chance to read some of those reviews to get a sense of how I operate and my team, go to dominicfonte.com. Check out our more than 500 five-star reviews, and I hope you gained something from today's listening audience.
I know
Amen.
they did. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for letting me come on.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't.